My name is Peace, and my life was once simple. In our small home, it was just Papa, Mama, Esther, my older sister, and me. We didn't have much, but Papa's jokes kept us laughing, even during hard times. Those happy days ended abruptly when Papa fell ill. His sudden collapse on the farm marked the beginning of a nightmare that changed everything. Mama sent us to fetch the herbalist, her voice shaking as she held Papa's hand. I ran as fast as I could, but by the time help arrived, Papa's condition was dire. Despite their efforts, he passed away 3 days later. The house felt emptier without him, and the laughter that once filled it was replaced by silence. Esther tried to be strong for me, but I often saw her crying when she thought I wasn't looking. Mama changed after Papa's death. One evening, she came home carrying bags of food and new clothes. When Esther asked where it all came from, Mama smiled tightly and said, "God works in mysterious ways." Soon after, she announced we were moving. Our new home was luxurious but felt cold, like it didn't belong to us. Mama had one strict rule. No one was allowed in her room. The whispers that came from behind her locked door at night made us uneasy. One night, I woke to footsteps. Mama entered our room holding a bloodied calabash. I pretended to sleep as she placed it on Esther's head. Instantly, Esther's eyes turned dark, and her body moved stiffly, as if controlled by strings. Mama led her into the forbidden room and shut the door. I was too scared to follow, lying frozen as fear gripped me. What was happening to my sister? The next morning, Esther was in the kitchen, scrubbing dishes, a task she hated. "Good morning, Peace," she said brightly, but her smile felt hollow. Her movements were mechanical, and something about her wasn't right. When I asked if she was okay, she laughed, but the sound was cold and unnatural. I wanted to push for answers, but my voice faltered, and dread filled me. Suddenly, foam began pouring from my mouth. I clutched my throat, trying to scream, but no sound came out. Esther dropped the plate she was washing as foam started to ooze from her mouth too. We both collapsed onto the floor, the room spinning around me. My mind raced as I struggled to make sense of what was happening. Through blurred vision, I saw Mama enter the kitchen. Her smile was sinister as she dragged Esther's limp body away. Her laughter echoed in the room, sending chills through me. I tried to move, to stop her, but my body refused to obey. The cold tiles beneath me were the last thing I felt as darkness consumed me. When I opened my eyes, I was tied to a cold wall, my body sticky with blood. Fear gripped me as I glanced around the dim room and spotted Esther on the ground. Her pale, lifeless body made my heart race. Mama knelt beside her, painting symbols on her with blood and whispering strange words. This wasn't the loving mother I once knew. My stomach churned, and I bit back a scream. The air was thick, filled with dread and the metallic stench of blood. The door creaked open, and a tall, scarred man stepped inside, his presence suffocating. He wore a red cloth and looked at Mama with piercing eyes. "Is it done?" he asked coldly. Mama nodded and gestured toward Esther. "Take her," she said, her voice emotionless. I wanted to scream, but fear kept me silent. The man lifted Esther and left the room, leaving me alone with Mama. She cleaned the blood, humming a haunting tune, while I trembled in silence. A scream shattered the quiet, and my heart sank. "Esther," I whispered, my voice shaking. Her cries were raw, filled with agony, and each one cut deep into me. I pulled at the ropes binding me, ignoring the pain. Suddenly, the screams stopped, and the silence that followed was unbearable. The man returned with Esther, her body limp and lifeless. "She's next," Mama said, pointing at me. My blood froze as the man turned his burning gaze toward me. I closed my eyes, pretending to be unconscious as terror gripped me. "She's pretending," the man said, stepping closer. I held my breath, praying he wouldn't notice. Before Mama could respond, he carried me away. He laid me on a bed in another room, his movements deliberate and cold. "Why are you doing this?" I whispered, trembling. He didn't answer, instead pulling out a red bead necklace. His silence was more chilling than any words. Desperate, I grabbed the necklace and yanked it hard, breaking the string. The beads scattered, and he staggered back, clutching his chest. Blood poured from his eyes and mouth as he collapsed, convulsing violently. I screamed and ran out of the room, my heart pounding. "Help! Somebody, help me!" I cried, but the house was eerily silent. In the living room, I froze. Mama lay on the floor, blood pooling around her lifeless body. The realization hit me like a wave, this was no accident. The rituals, the chants, the man, it all made sense now. My father had been sacrificed, just like Esther. Tears blurred my vision as I stumbled to my feet, overwhelmed by the horror. I couldn't stay in this house any longer. The walls seemed to close in, suffocating me with every breath. I ran into the night, desperate for escape. I reached my aunt's house, sobbing uncontrollably as she opened the door. Child, what happened? She asked, pulling me into her arms. Mama, she killed Dad. She was going to kill me too, I cried. My aunt stiffened, her face darkening as she held me. I knew something wasn't right, she muttered. She tried to comfort me in the days that followed, but nothing could erase the horrors I had seen. The memories of that night would follow me forever.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy the story. Don't forget to subscribe, like and also share this story to family and friends. See you in the next story.